So hi everyone and welcome. Today's talk is Spiritual Chat on Mental Disorders, and today's date is Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. So this topic was a request from someone who wanted my physical take on mental illness. This is a good friend of mine. She wanted to have me speak on mental illness or mental disorders, as she felt there were stigmas attached to these disorders where society treats these people badly or avoids them completely due to not understanding what these disorders are. And so coming from a place of ignorance, because, we fear what we don't understand, if they had a greater understanding, they would then be treating these people better. So even though there is a belief that vaccinations and medications have had a huge influence in this, even been the cause in some cases of these disorders, I'm of the opinion that every soul has chosen its path of experience for what it wants to achieve in this lifetime. And soul contracts would have been set up beforehand with all those affected or involved in that journey. So keeping that in mind, let's begin. So I'll just I wanted to give the definitions and then my metaphysical take on some of it, or my understanding with the clients that I've seen over the years that have had some of these disorders. Okay, then anxiety disorder. So the definition of anxiety disorder is a mental health disorder characterized by feelings of worry, anxiety, or fear that are strong enough to interfere with one's daily activities. So it's natural to feel nervous or anxious when faced with something new or the unknown. Okay, like there are some people that'll say, some stars that go on stage, whether they're singers or whether they're actors, they'll say they still get that butterflies in their stomach every time before they go on, even though they may have been doing that for 20 years. And so it's natural for the body to kind of feel that kind of thing. What isn't normal is when it is so overwhelming that it affects your functioning in everyday life. Okay, so there's many ways that the way that the anxieties can play out. So the one is social anxiety, okay? And this can be due to concern about others' opinions of you, or being self-conscious, feeling like you don't fit in. So, all the indigos feel like that all the time. And this is a huge problem with teenagers, especially with the amount of cyberbullying that goes on with social media. There was bullying before, and now you've got social media added to it. And there are many people that have got a big mouth behind a screen, but they would never say those kind of things to a person face to face. Although you will find those who would be quite happy to also do that kind of mean thing face to face. So this could be a result of where they'd had a bad experience, where they were embarrassed by something that happened that were witnessed by others, or due to low self-esteem or poor body image, no self-confidence, etc. This should not be taken lightly. The underlying issue needs to be addressed. Otherwise, this can lead to drug or alcohol addiction as coping mechanisms. It's not just, that's just how they are. She is like that. She doesn't really like being around people. You need to find out why, because there's something big going on, and where it can lead to is can be major, and it's easy for them to choose alcohol or drugs to be able to cope or function in any social situation. And that could also be the underlying thing that can lead to eating disorders. Also, if left unchecked, it can also lead to depression. So these people are often easy targets by others to make fun of them or for them to be the butt end of jokes. But interestingly enough, very often the people who target them also suffer from insecurities, but hide them well by bringing attention to others' weaknesses. Because people who are really strong do not prey on weaker people. They will normally defend them. So notice who the bullies are. They are damaged goods. There's something going on with them and they don't want anybody to know about it. So they bully others, or they bring attention to others so nobody notices them. It's very weird how that is. Then the other thing is panic attacks. So this is where sudden or intense fear is experienced that brings about a panic attack. It is literally where the body freezes up and you are unable to breathe due to the intense fear experience. So you can try and breathe, but you almost feel like you can't take air in, like your lungs are not expanding. It's almost like you feel like your whole body's in a spasm. And you really feel like you could die, because that's exactly how the subconscious mind is interpreting it. It's whatever's threatening, this could be death. And that's why it is so paralyzing. And sometimes people can't identify what is behind the panic attack. So they may not register what is actually triggered it. It's not always obvious. And then also there are some phobias that can lead to panic attacks, okay? So if one can identify the underlying cause of a panic attack, it can be cleared. If you can identify what's a cause of anxiety, that can be cleared. There's nothing of what I'm talking about that cannot be shifted, okay? So phobias. Now, these are also a form of anxiety. I didn't even know there were names for some of these things. So there's a fear of flying in an airplane, which is aerophobia, fear of heights, acrophobia, fear of closed spaces, claustrophobia, fear of crowded public places, agoraphobia, fear of embarrassment. I didn't know there was such a fear. I know people that can kind of give them a panic attack. I didn't know it was actually considered a phobia. Calagalophobia, fear of elevators. I would have thought that would have been claustrophobia, but it's elevatophobia. Fear of spiders, arachnophobia. Fear of snakes. There wasn't a name for that. Fear of driving a car, because I know some people feel like they're not in control. Anything can happen from the outside. So that is a real phobia as well. And then fear of water, which is aquaphobia. So all phobias are caused either by a stressful or traumatic experience, a frightening event, or it can also be learned from someone in the family. So if a person's mother was totally aquaphobic, where she had a fear of water, that can make a child, that can impress the child with the be careful of water, because it's something that can do that can harm you. So a lot of the phobias can be passed down to children because their parents they observed what their parents were doing. So once again, these are real experiences for the people who have these fears. It is not just a case of get over it. It is not something that can just be overcome easily, because it's something that they feel totally they have no control over. And again, the energy healing and stuff can clear those things. So all anxieties, no matter how they appear, have an underlying experience of trauma related to them that can be shifted. Okay.